Yeah, we're
You
walking
fully.
through the valley of the shadow of death, not setting up a campground in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was setting up camp, like really comfortable.
Yeah, let's just get comfortable here. No, we're walking through it, and we're walking
Yeah.
through it together. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Max Afterburner Podcast. I am your host today, Theresa Noach, and we are bringing this to you from No Fallen Heroes universe. I am so incredibly excited about the guest that I get to bring to you today. But before I tell you about this special lady, I just wanted to remind you that wherever you are listening from today, we would appreciate it if you would like, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. Spread the word about Sacred Warrior Fellowship and No Fallen Heroes. My guest today is Tommi Kirkpatrick, a Marine wife. Her husband is a corpse combat veteran. She's also a mother of 6 children who has devoted the past 20 years of her life to studying various healing modalities and passing them on to others, veterans and civilians alike. But it wasn't until midlife that the effects of unprocessed CPTSD in her own life started to show up. And that is when she was invited to confront the reality that inside she was withering. So with courage and a little bit of fear, she finally decided to go all in on her healing journey. And ladies and gentlemen, with great privilege, I introduce to you today, Tommi Kirkpatrick. Tommi, you are a world shaker, girl. You and Micah are just so incredible. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your crazy schedule, 6 kids and a husband.
It's an honor.
Yeah. And just, staying true to the calling on your life to shine your light.
Yeah.
And from what I've been seeing and what I've been hearing has been going on in your life, it's pretty incredible how fan has been flamed.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the right way to say it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
How
Absolutely.
are you?
I am surprisingly nervous because this is a different type of sharing for me. I love talking. It's kind of my favorite thing to do. Put me on a stage with a mic, but this is so different. This is a level of vulnerability and rawness for me that feels really, really, really important. And I'm so honored to be able to share a bit of my story.
Yeah. I understand that, and I don't take lightly the amount of courage that it takes to do this, to get on here and to just be willing to lay it all out. But of course, we would need a couple of books probably.
Yeah.
After talking to you for the last couple of weeks, we need a few books and novels. And I mean, there's just not enough time in a day to really talk about your story. It's incredible. Tell me a little bit about what led up, in the days and weeks to you coming to ceremony. Like what was going on? What led to that?
Right. Well, when I was 1, no, just kidding, but it really does feel like
we can do a 2 and a 3.
Yeah, like this is my path. But I'm laughing, Theresa, because the people pleaser in me is dead. But that old person, this would have been terrifying to me. I'd be on someone's prayer list somewhere. She's doing what now? And so I guess what led me here was a lot of suffering and a lot of enduring and a lot of a few very wise and caring mentors who've walked me through the past few decades. That there was no option. There was no easy button. There was no shortcut. This was the next step and the next step and the next step to recovering me, to being fully me. And so the past several years have been very difficult. And I would have told you that there were a lot of external circumstances that made it so. And so I tried to fix and control all of those external circumstances so that I could feel better, be better, do better. And when those things didn't work,
Tell me what those things are. I mean, I can only
yeah,
imagine because I can
yeah,
relate.
yeah. Um, relational
Mhm.
issues where it was very easy for me. So it was very easy for me to look at other people and say they're the problem because I presented myself very calm, very loving, very compliant and agreeable. But what I wasn't able to acknowledge, even though I had had therapists for years tell me this, I had this big beach ball of anger that I was trying to push below the water and keep down. And so instead of dealing with that, I was just pushing it all out this way and focusing on relational things that felt like relational strife, fixing other people. I was great at fixing
Mhm.
other people. I was great at attracting people into my life that were in crisis so that I could help them. Um, and, I
I
had
think
one
you're
wise.
telling my story. I think you're telling my story.
That's what's so beautiful is that we're not alone. This is not
Yeah.
a unique scenario. It just has so many different flavors. And my flavor just looked like I'm going to get a pseudo PhD in every form of therapy known to man so I can fix everyone else. And the elephant in the room was that I'm dying. I'm not even living. And so the the sh- the next step for me was that in August I found myself on a plane headed to Alaska for a wonderful trip for veteran couples, and I was dying, and I felt very hopeless, and I was yelling at God, and I was telling him that he had failed me, and I was listing to him all the ways that I have shown up to support my marriage. 17, in fact, I listed 17 ways that I have been a good wife. And he spoke to me and I said, "What else do you need me to do?" And he said, "Have you lowered your husband through the roof?" And I knew it was the image of the friends who brought their friend down through the roof for healing. And I just cried because I had nothing left. But the point of what he was telling me wasn't that I needed to do something else. He was basically telling me, this isn't yours. This isn't your thing to carry. I'm not asking you to do these things. And here, you want to try something else? Dig a hole through the roof. So I just felt really defeated, and I cried myself to sleep on the plane. And I woke up as the plane was descending, and I heard his voice again. And he said, really, the tenderness of a loving dad without an ounce of judgment or I told you so. He said, "Sweetheart, it's okay. I'll lower you both down to your healing." And I would love to say that at that moment I felt comforted, but I didn't. My response was, no, 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 I don't need it. It's not for me. It's for him. That was literally my response. Still refusing to accept that I need help. And so that put us on this fast track to being introduced to people who introduced us to people who brought us to Wiz and Susie. And then my husband took the most courageous step in sitting with psilocybin. And I can't even express my gratitude for all of the people and the resources that allowed that to happen. So when he came home, the changes were undeniable. The sense of peace, the sense of presence, it was like something had unblocked and now there was access to all of the tools that we have. We could harness them now. There was such a difference, and there was part of me that it almost let me let my guard down and realize, what am I doing? I get one life. I'm almost 46 and I'm launching my kids and I'm watching my husband live his life. Who am I?
Yeah.
And so that's really what brought me to No Fallen Heroes was I want me. I want to go back and fight for me now.
Oh my God. This is
Yeah.
incredible. You were in ceremony 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It feels,
The time vortex.
I'm telling you, what is time? It's been wild, all of the things that have been unfolding just
Mhm.
since your
Mhm.
ceremony. But even how many weeks before your ceremony was your husband with us?
Right, right.
So
So
what has it
that
been, like
was,
5 weeks now, pretty
yeah,
much 5 weeks
5
since
weeks, 6
since
weeks since
Micah
he's,
was with us?
yes.
Yeah. And he came with a group of all guys. And I remember when I got there Friday night to meet them and to talk about their intention, your husband, I think he's the tallest one in the group. A couple of the guys were pretty tall, but I'm pretty sure he's the tallest one in the group. And so there was no missing him, but he had these little oracle cards, like he was kind of taking the initiative to make people feel comfortable,
Yeah, that's Micah.
and
Yeah,
he just had that energy
yeah,
about him that
yes,
he was very brotherly with everyone right off
yes,
the bat,
yeah, yeah.
and
It's so great.
eventually,
Yeah,
I'm going to get him in here too. But today, we're going to really
yes,
just focus in on
yeah,
what's been going on with you. Now, when you
yeah,
were getting ready for ceremony and you've already had your booklet and you're getting primed, tell me, what were some of the thoughts that were going through your
yeah.
head?
Uh-huh. Well, this was very taboo for me. My particular background,
Yes.
this was a very taboo thing to consider doing. So what I kept thinking about was the story of the woman who had been hemorrhaging for years and years and years and years and
So
had
I want to give the listeners just really quick some context because not everybody understands that these
yeah,
are Bible stories. So the story that she just mentioned a few minutes ago about the guy being lowered down, some of you may be familiar with, but that is a Bible story where Jesus was out on his ministry and people were getting healed left and right. There was a crowd that was surrounding him, and there was a group of people that needed to get their sick friend to Jesus, but there were too many people. So they went on top of the building and they lowered him down to Jesus through the top. So when Tommi was talking about, God said to her, I'm going to lower both of you down. And then now you're talking about the woman with the issue of blood, right?
hmm
Is that the
yeah,
story?
yeah,
And in
exactly,
that particular story, Jesus, again, he's moving through the multitudes. People are getting healed. And here she is. She has
yeah,
been wrestling with sickness her whole
yeah,
entire life. And I just happen to have a little bit of a Bible background, guys. She's dealing with this illness her entire life. And the Bible says that she had spent all of her money on doctors. And at this point, she was desperate and needed to
hmm
do something drastic. So
yes, yes.
you're thinking about that story.
Insert me. That was
Yeah.
that was that was where I was. It was like it has been, decades now of knocking on doors for my healing. The next the next resource, the next therapist, the next support group, the next podcast, the next book, the next Bible study, the next meditation. And I'm grateful for all of them because they were all part of my process, some way more than others. But I was now at the end and I'm so tired and I can't get out of my head. I know everything I need to know to be a whole person, but I feel stuck. I just feel stuck. And so I just kept thinking of this woman that did something really taboo and ballsy and just grabbed onto the hem of his robe. Like, maybe this will help me. Like, I think this is it. And that's what it felt like for me of like, I've got to do something. I've got to do something. And then the other thing I kept thinking was, it felt silly at the time, but I was obsessing about what I was going to wear during ceremony, like majorly obsessing because like, I want to be comfortable. I want to look cute. I want to feel like my inner hippie. I don't want something to fall off if I'm puking. I don't want to puke on it. Like there was so many random thoughts. And the morning we left, I woke up and I knew what I needed to wear and it all tied together as only this can. It was a white dress that had been in my closet for years and years. I've never worn, tag still on it, but it was meaningful because of my life story of when I was born into a mafia-riddled family. And so there was just darkness and sadness and tragedy and crime everywhere. And I was born in my first baby picture. I'm in a little white dress. But the backdrop is my mom didn't want to deliver me, so she stopped pushing, and my dad wouldn't hold me because I wasn't a son. So that's my first entrance into this world in this beautiful white dress. And then the next picture I have of myself is 5 or 6 years old in a beautiful white dress. And I'm now in little modeling competitions in the 80s. And my life is just thrown chaos everywhere and tragedies and fear everywhere. And I'm on stage performing and smiling. And then in high school, I'm in another white dress in a beauty competition, winning all the awards, waving, smiling. And I'm just so fractured, just so fractured. And then I meet my husband and we get married and I'm in my white dress. And now I'm going to be the perfect wife in the middle of a war where he's preparing to go to combat and I'm pregnant alone. But I'm just going to, it was like all of this performance and performance and performance. And so I knew this is the next white dress. This is where I go back for me. And it's just me and it's not a performance.
That's incredible. As you're talking, I'm thinking about how you knew that there was still a piece to the puzzle that you were looking for, but yet on the one hand, you were also in a place where you wanted to put yourself out there to support others on their journey. And, so many of us do that. There was something that one of the leaders in the church that I was in for a long time said, and this was so profound. She was a female pastor, and she said when new people come to her church, instead of getting them busy serving, which a lot of churches, that's kind of their MO, they figure, and it kind of makes sense on a surface level. And that is, if you're coming in and your life is dysfunctional, one of the best things for you to do is to start serving someone else. Right. And at first it kind of makes sense. But again, on a very surface level, because what I saw after being a part of this type system for 15 years is just perpetual spiritual bypass. And we come in and we feel good about being able to take the attention off of everything that's broken in our lives and everything that feels broken inside of us, and to put that attention on someone else. And it sounds good wrapped in a little package.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's easy to get stuck in that and to convince ourselves that we are somewhere emotionally, mentally, spiritually that we're not.
Yes, that was where I was. That was it. And I didn't even know it. And, I don't know who the typical audience tends to be. But I represent a veteran wife, a combat veteran wife, where it's very easy to put your own needs on the shelf because you're supporting workups, deployments, coming home, recovery, injury. So you're on hold. And then I'm a homeschool mom. So you're like launching your kids and like making sure they're okay. And so you're just giving. And, one of the images that came through in my journey was like this fire where I'm this fire. And what I've been doing is taking these little flames and giving them to people, trying to keep everyone warm. But what's happening to the fire? It's going out. And it was this complete mindset shift after ceremony that, no, that's not what we do. No, my responsibility is to tend to the fire of my own life. And people will benefit that way, not because I'm giving more and giving more and giving more like that.
Absolutely. And, as I was saying, I started saying about the woman pastor, she identified, what was going on, that people were coming in and immediately wanting to get busy serving, signing up to do children's church, signing up for the nursery, signing up on the worship team, signing up. There's always something to do. There's always a need to meet. And when people first get involved in church, that is what happens. So many people just immediately get signed up with all the things. But she said, this particular pastor said, she doesn't allow people to sign up to do anything right away, that all she wants them to do is come and sit at the altar and be loved.
Yeah.
And I'm going to cry.
Yeah. Wow.
Because for years I was striving, and what I didn't know then, and I can hear it in your story too, is that there were a lot of amazing things that were done for other people, but I was striving. I was trying to prove that I belonged in this world, and it goes all the way back. It goes sometimes back even generations, because my mother was a struggling young woman when she found out she was pregnant with me, and she was scared, and she really didn't want to be pregnant yet. And those types of emotions are felt in the womb. And this is not to put shame on mothers, because you can't help it, but it is the reality of the fact that even in the womb, we are already trying to figure out what our place is in the world. And most of us come in some form of depletion when it comes to the basic needs that God intended for us to have met in the context of family, right? But we are not living in a fully restored version of the world yet. And so almost every one of us are going to be born into some form of depletion is the only word that I can think of, even if you have what you think are the best parents. And so many people are trying to create lives that deep down inside make them feel like they have value. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's a God-shaped hole, because we are supposed to know we're loved. We are supposed to know we're valuable. But we when we're restored to our wholeness, we don't run around trying to prove it anymore. Right? And that's what, like, God knew that you didn't know. God knew that I didn't know that I was striving. I had a pastor come up to me. I was on the worship team, and I thought I was so free. And he said, you're striving. And I was offended. I was offended because I had done so much work, like you. I had done so much work on myself. I couldn't possibly do any more. But the reality is, there is that deep down sense of am I good enough? Am I good enough? Am I okay? One of my favorite mantras now is, I am enough. I have enough. I do enough.
Yeah. That's so great. That's so great.
I am enough. I have enough. I do enough. And I was listening to you the other day saying how, you shared in our group text, because we have, this little camaraderie of people from your ceremony that continue to share about how their integration is going. And I just love seeing all the different comments coming in that text. But you had shared that you were really just able to sit and enjoy a newfound sense of peace, even though nothing had really changed about your circumstances.
It's wild. It's wild. I'm having a hard time even putting into words how different my daily experience is now. My mind is quiet. And yes, I have a full life. I have a big family, and we have a lot going on. But I was overcomplicating it by not just walking through a particular event, but I would rehearse it and plan it and then do the what ifs and the what if that and what if this. So by the time the actual event happened, I had already lived it in my mind and my body 10 times. It was like constant. And I didn't even know. It was my constant companion. All of this, worry, logistic. And now I walk around and it's like, how am I accomplishing the same amount, if not more, without even realizing it, not having to think about it, rehearse it, plan it, worry about it. It's the way I explain it to Micah. It's like, My intention in the ceremony was release. And that was a very significant word for me. And I didn't quite know all that was going to invite me to do.
Right.
But prior to the ceremony, my life, I was like Velcro, just like sticking everything to me. And that's how I take care of everything is it sticks to me. It sticks to me. And now things and people and circumstances and everything just seems to be flowing through me where it's, like you said earlier, it's not so effortful. I'm not having to work so hard and analyze, am I doing enough? Am I doing it right? It's just all of that is gone. It's freedom. It's freedom. It's
It is. It's
freedom.
release.
It's release.
It's release. And what I love also about your story is that if anyone had just looked at you and your life at face value, they would think to themselves, she doesn't need to go on a
Nope.
hallucinogenic
Nope.
street. I mean, why you? But you
No.
are the epitome of so many um I want to use the word housewife,
Yes, you can
domestic
use it. It applies.
homemaker,
Yeah.
domestic goddess. I mean, I am also a housewife and I am proud of it, but I have created a life that looked really, really functional and good to most people. And most people didn't know
Yeah.
what I really dealt with in my heart emotionally.
Yeah.
Because I also never really felt like you could share that because of the fact that you had kind of been in the position of coaching
Uh-huh.
and mentorship and leadership. It's like, yeah, but who's your coach? Yeah, but who's
Yeah.
your mentor? Yeah, but where's your ceremony, right? Like I still need to go on a ceremony for myself too, because it is what I do now full time. And I have done ministry full time for a very long time, but I took a very much needed season, years of rewriting that script, just like what you're describing for yourself, learning how to be on the receiving end and, learning
Yes.
how to be still and just
Oh,
let God be God and learning how to sit in this new found release, this newfound freedom, learn how
yes.
to live out of this place now, right? And
Yes.
it definitely I allowed myself time to just let things unfold,
Mhm.
not chase anything
Mhm.
anymore. Just
Mhm.
really let it go.
Yeah,
If
I
it
know.
means letting things fall, I know now
I
that
know.
I don't have to hold anything up anymore. That's what ceremony
Yes.
did for me.
Yeah, I can relate to that, Teresa. That idea of just let it go and trust. Before the ceremony, I would always meet that with a knee-jerk reaction of, yeah, but. There was always a yeah, but. I mean, I can't let it go because then this will fall apart or this person or
Yeah.
that. There was always a pushback from me because I was putting myself, as one wise mentor told me, as the general manager of the universe. He
Right.
literally said, you have so much to offer this world, but you've got to resign as general manager of the universe. That was told to me 12 years ago. And up until 2 weeks ago, I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to resign.
Yeah.
It's like there was something stuck. It was fear. It was so much fear, but I didn't know how to do that. Now I can.
Yeah.
It's
And so
freedom.
many women like yourself and like us, especially our veterans' wives that have
Yeah.
your story that also think like, hey, I'm not the one that needs a ceremony. He's the
Right.
one that experienced the combat.
Right.
He's the one that, you
Mm-hmm.
know, was in the battle, but
Mm-hmm.
no.
No.
And here
Yeah.
you are at home, holding
Yeah.
up the family, holding up the
Mm-hmm.
home. And we all know
Mm-hmm.
that that is an incredible, incredible
Yeah.
task.
Yes.
And
And
it is so honorable.
I'm so glad that um the dialogue is changing around that. Like when we were
Yes.
early 2000s, and they're all getting shipped off. Like it's like a puppy mill of just out and out and out and coming back broken and going back out. The messaging to the wives was basically like, suck it up. Like, you've got to be strong. That's it. You learn to compartmentalize, because you can't let your loved one who's in combat be worried about you. He's got to stay focused on the mission. So for me, that was just more, that was my MO. My whole life was like, everything's good. We're all good. Yes, seeing this for my husband and then realizing, oh, wait, it was what Wiz's last guest, Dr. Lipoff, said. I think that's his name. Phenomenal episode when he said, when one goes to war, the whole family goes to war. That's true. So I've been thinking about that. When your loved one goes to war, you all go to war. No one's exempt. And then the other thought I've been thinking a lot about is like, you either face your demons or they raise your kids. Like, this is the battleground. This is where we do that work. And so this has just helped. It's changed everything. It's changed my brain. I know people know the science.
It has changed your brain.
Yes.
And it is just remarkable to see the research that is coming forward that substantiates what, us tree huggers have been claiming. Okay, I'll speak for myself. I'm the tree hugger.
Love it.
They are all my friends. And so here you are, you found out that did you come on a grant?
Did, yes.
Yeah. Which is
so
incredible.
Generous.
That's why we're doing what we're doing. And Wiz is out there,
God bless him.
Yeah. He's out there working to get the message.
He's saving lives.
He is.
Yeah. He's saving families.
Addressing issues with where the funds are going to end veteran suicide that isn't really ending veteran suicide. And here we've got evidence of what psilocybin can do in a therapeutic and ceremonial setting. And you know what? We're just going to keep cranking them out, keep cranking out these stories, because it really is changing families, legacies. You have 6 kids.
Yeah.
6 kids. This is truly our future.
Oh, yes.
This is our future. And you are changing the spiritual and emotional and energetic, physical, mental climate that your children are going to take out into this world.
I think Micah would agree. It's our proudest ongoing accomplishment is showing up and not quitting. That's our family motto. We don't quit. And, I just get so emotional about it because it's so easy to quit. It's just so easy to quit on yourself, on each other, on life, on whatever. But there's so much goodness on the other side. And there's so much help along the way. And it's there, and people need to know that there's help. And I'm so glad my kids are seeing a mom and a dad who aren't quitting.
And they're not
that there's real evidence of change.
Absolutely. And they're not quitting on the family, and they're not quitting on each other. And not only are you not quitting, but you guys are building a whole new relationship. Yeah. Your kids are going to get to not only witness for themselves, but sit in the energy of a beautiful romance, a beautiful story that's unfolding, so that they can look at your relationship and say, that's what I want for myself.
Yeah.
And this is the family that I want to one day bring my wife or husband home to. This is the family that I want to one day bring my kids to. And these are the parents that I want to continue learning from as I become an adult. You guys are setting a new bar, and it's one of humility, because you know what? It takes a lot to heal as a parent and as a spouse. There's enough responsibility in and of itself, but to go through the emotional piece and still try to
exist.
Be a parent.
And work. And Micah, it's like it's like you're drowning and bleeding out in shark infested waters, holding all your kids. And it's like, it's so much. And, you know, I just can't say enough about that. Like the pressure point of, especially this season of life when you're, midlife and your kids need you and your parents start to need you more and you're outsourcing, you're having to give so much this way. You're being
And your body's changing.
And your body's changing.
And this is when your body and your hormones actually need you to slow the hell down.
Yeah. I know.
And start thinking about yourself. This is when you really do need to have, not that it's not important at every stage of the journey, but this is really an important time for you to reel some of that back in and allow yourself to be on the receiving end. But you're right. You just painted the most incredible picture, but also the picture you painted is the very reason why people justify not doing the healing. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about how, yes, it's extremely hard, but what is the alternative?
Yeah.
Are we fooling ourselves thinking that we've got it all together?
I know.
And if we don't poke the bear now, right? Don't deal with the trauma now. There's too much work to do.
Yeah.
What's really happening? We're kicking the can. And as we kick the can, we're accumulating more trauma. We're compounding more trauma. We're compounding the pressures in our life. It's like somebody take the plunge. Take the plunge, have the courage, make the commitment, do the work, because it's not going to get better by ignoring it and pretending it's going to go away. It's not.
Yeah, absolutely not. And that's the beauty of, the physical body giving you those cues and talking to you and saying, hey, like threat level midnight, you get, like at some point you've got to hear what I'm saying here. Like, I was accumulating a lot of red flags. I started having panic attacks. And that's terrifying.
Yes.
I started to not sleep well, have really fearful dreams, and then riddled with anxiety, every what if known to man, and then flashbacks, and then memories from childhood that I didn't know were even memories or experiences. And things were just snowballing in my life. And my body was so kind to stick with me and keep giving me another invitation to dig in and get real and go, like I said, go all into my healing. I didn't need another 10-minute meditation.
No.
I didn't need another study on neuroplasticity. I didn't need anything else here. I needed this. I needed my soul to be restored. And that's not something I could have done with a book or, a support group. As wonderful as those things have been in my life.
Absolutely.
It was time to like go in or die trying. Like that's
it. Right. And I love how you said, that you're listening to your body, because so many of us end up in ceremony as a last resort to healing because the body's finally catching up to what hasn't been addressed, and you had mentioned anger, and that is something that is obviously stored very, very deep. And for me, I had so much anger that was connected to, and I didn't know for the longest time what it was connected to because I had done so much healing. But again, we're peeling back layers, right?
Yeah.
And so many people that come to ceremony have truly done a lot of work. Because we are peeling back layers and we get to a point where we're just ready to take this plunge because we are all in at this point, right? And a lot of times when people have already been doing the work, the body will start to manifest what has been stored. And you could go from being what seemed pretty healthy to having issues overnight.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that's an indication that you have peeled back those layers and the body knows I don't have to hide anymore because we're coming into a new place and this needs to come into the light.
Yeah.
And so those, like you call them flags, they start happening, but think about what a blessing they were because they led you to this deeper level of surrender because you had to. I went through the same thing, I was panic attacks are horrifying, and the anxiety. And at the end of the day, what the root of the anger was that I was dealing with was a sense of powerlessness,
Yeah.
which led
Yeah.
back to things that happened in early childhood where I didn't have a say so and I could not change the
Hmm.
circumstances. And I was trapped
Hmm.
in an abusive situation
Hmm.
time and time again over the course of my life. And that feeling of powerlessness turned into an undertone of anger,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
rage, that
Yeah.
in order for me to cope with that in life, I had to constantly distract myself. And while my relationship with God was developing, and I certainly was getting different levels of healing in that 10, 15 years, this was deep. And my
Hmm.
body finally started saying, okay, and
Yeah.
getting all those flags. And so you were
Yeah.
saying that you started listening to your body. And I love how you talk about your body in such an endearing way, that even though your body was producing these uncomfortable
Yeah.
manifestations, you're sitting in a place now where you're saying, you know, like, thank you to my body.
Yeah.
You have brought me through so
Yeah.
much. And if
Yeah.
we could get to a place where we realize that we've been shaming our bodies, where we've been self-loathing because we're blaming ourselves and our bodies for what is wrong. And a lot of people are sick and they are blaming their bodies, but really your body is so
Yes.
wise.
It's like your greatest advocate.
Yes, and it is always talking to you and leading you and
Yeah.
guiding you. And psilocybin helps to clear out all of the other noises so that you can hear
Oh,
exactly what your body has been saying.
you are
You
not
are in
kidding.
alignment with that inner
Yes.
divine voice, which is in your
Yes.
being.
Yes. I'd like to say something on that. Um, Obviously, you witnessed it. So, for me in my psilocybin journey, there was a lot of releasing rage and resentment and grief and anguish just for generations and generations. Like it was stuck on me. I was carrying all of this. And what made that even more significant for me was that it was done with witnesses. You know, the way I coped my whole life was like, just be quiet, just be small, go hide in a closet and cry. Don't disrupt because other people are going through things. You don't want to be a bother. That was me. Like, just play small, be small, ignore, be quiet. And so in my psilocybin journey, it was quite embarrassing the level. I mean, I'm just getting my voice back. It was primal screaming and rage, and it felt like relief. And in my head, I could still hear myself feeling embarrassed that I was disturbing the other people in this circle. And at some point I realized, no, that's the gift that,
Yes.
that there's people here that can hold this for me, that they're
Mm.
not trying to quiet me or fix it for me, but I have witnesses and I can release this. And even to have my amazing husband he was tending to the fire. I call him the fire angel now because just knowing that he was nearby was like such a powerful like support where he wasn't interfering with what I needed to do.
Yeah.
He was at a different distance, strong, supportive, but not stopping short prematurely what
Yeah.
I needed to do. And that's really stuck with me, just having other people there with eyes and ears to see and hear what I did.
Well, and not only were we able to witness and hold space, but we all could feel it for ourselves. It was like the one voice for
Mm,
all of us. It
yeah.
was the one voice for every one of us women
Mhm.
that have been holding that rage, and men that have been holding that rage in our bodies.
Yeah.
And you had the courage to unleash the beast. And I didn't even know. So when you had gotten up and I looked at you and I said to Kat, take her out there, out of the yoga studio and out into the beautiful foliage of the retreat. I said, take her out there. And I didn't even know why I said that, because you guys, when you are in a ceremony, it is an inner journey. And so it's guided by music and sound, and you're in the elements, but you're also under an awning in an open yoga studio. And so if you have to go to the bathroom, one of our stewards will walk you into the retreat center to use the bathroom, but you go on a little mini trail through the property. And when you're in ceremony, in another dimension, it's just this beautiful jungle. And so I walked by and said, on your way to the bathroom, go look at that. And what I was seeing at the time was just how beautiful the light was shining on everything, and I shared a little bit about that message, how Spirit said to me, just be like them, the plants. Just allow yourself to shine. Allow every different dimension of who you are to reflect a different angle of light by simply being. Look how beautiful all of this is, and all it does is be. And that's what I was seeing. But little did I know that the mushrooms were about to take you on this journey of giving birth to yourself.
We didn't even hear you. The phrase. Yeah, that was it. It was, it was, I walked out there and it was you could feel it, a wave. And the only word I keep coming up with is anguish. It was like, I understand why people would just rip their clothes or pull their hair out, like the level of pain, the level of just, I could cry just thinking about it. It hit me, and it was lifetimes of sadness. I could feel all of it, all the silenced, mostly women in my family, all the silenced fear and anguish. And I fell on my knees, hands and knees, and I couldn't breathe. I mean, I was expecting psilocybin to be like a warm hug and like dancing in the field, like it's going to be lovely. No, it was not like that for me. It was very visceral and very, very uncomfortable. And even, there were times that I felt a little scared even. And now I understand more why that was my journey. In this moment, I couldn't breathe. The only way I could breathe, was if I just roared. It came out like when you're delivering a baby and you feel the force of life, just kind of, if you've ever had a baby, it's like it pushes you back, but it was coming out of my mouth. And it was just, I could feel it from my gut come up and out. And I mean, I've been with wonderful somatic therapists who've encouraged me to tap into my anger and would give me different exercises to do that. And sweet little Tommi, okay, I'll write an angry letter now. I'll throw a rock in the woods. Like, it's still this sweet little, no, psilocybin, like there was no option for that. It was, we're getting real. We're going to feel it and we're going to release it.
And that's exactly why your journey had to be that way. I love that you bring up the fact that, you thought it was going to be all, because you mentioned that Micah's journey was very love and light, right?
It was the carrot that dangled for me. Like, I want that.
How beautiful. How beautiful. I just love the setup, it's great. And I hear about stories like that all the time. But when I was talking to you the other day and you were just having this profound aha moment about how there was a moment in time in your journey where you were terrified and you felt alone and you were calling out to Jesus and you were calling out to your guardians. And tell me about that. You said that you had a realization that changed your life.
Yes, because at that point, I was asking anyone to show up and help me. There was a list of like, all right, Jesus, please come help me. I can't do this. God, please come help me. I can't do this. I even asked my one fighter son, Sam, like maybe Sam will show up and fight with me. Please, like I need someone. And it was just me. I was just alone. It was just me. And after ceremony, I really felt like this is not like a good advertisement, but I was like, we come here to unload trauma. I may have just got some. Like this was really traumatic. But now the wisdom of it, I didn't need to be rescued.
Right.
I didn't need someone outside of me.
That's right.
to save me. I can do it. I did it. God was with me. He is in me. I can do this. I did this. And all of my life has been victim mentality of I'm not strong enough, not brave enough, not whatever enough. I need someone else to help me. And so it makes sense now that part of my journey, I was all alone. And then also it made sense in the sense that I felt like I was reborn. And when I was reborn, it was very dark and very alone. And it felt like there was a lot of scary things around me, which would have mirrored my real, birth in early years. But on the other side, I can't even communicate the level of like peace and confidence. Now, the first thing I said when I came out of the medicine through tears was, I told Micah, I make it. I make it. And it's like, I was living my life like, I'm not sure how this ends. I don't know what happens to me. And now it's like, everything's okay. We're good. Everything's okay. It's all okay.
Incredible. It really is mind-blowing. We tell people there's no guarantee. You really don't get to dictate where you go in your journey. But the whole point of the journey is to see what we need to see so that we can stand in a new understanding of who we are as whole and
Yes.
as extensions of
Yes.
God.
Yes.
And for some of us, the idea that I'm not enough and I can't do this is so deeply buried underneath all of the tough woman act that we also put on. It's like you wouldn't know that, I had that fear of being alone, or you wouldn't know that I had that fear of not being adequate.
Yeah.
And so the psilocybin is going to show you who you really are. And why it was scary to you is because that was exactly what you were trying to avoid your whole life. Was having to roar, having to stand in your own power, having to be, God
Be
in
noticed.
flesh in your world and in your life.
Yeah.
God incarnate in
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Right? Source, Christ, Spirit alive in you.
Yeah.
And you don't need someone to save you.
It's mind-blowing, Theresa. There's so many revelations post journey. Like you just keep writing everything down. It's like you're seeing the world through a whole new lens. You're seeing yourself, everything. But one of the things I realized is most of my adult life has been helping people suffer. Now, and I don't want to say this in the way I don't mean it. There's tremendous value in enduring suffering. It's our tutor. It gets us to our healing. Like we don't ignore the suffering. The passion was suffer. Like, let me help you breathe it out. Let me help you operate while you're suffering. And again, that suffering has been such a gift, but I see the bigger picture now of like the end goal isn't that we just suffer well. It's like, that's not the point that we're just like A+ on suffering. It's like, wait, no. There's a promise after that. Like there's wholeness. There's so much happiness and joy and being and gratitude and not regret. And it's just like, I get it now. That's my passion is, let's endure the suffering. Let's let it be a tutor. And then where is it going to guide you to wholeness?
Yeah. We're walking through the valley of the shadow of death, not setting up a campground.
Yeah. I was setting up camp, like really comfortable.
Let's just get comfortable here. No, we're walking through it and we're walking through it together. And I love the part of Psalms 23 that says that God prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Because to me, I think that can be so pertinent to someone's journey in ceremony, because you do feel in and among sometimes things that feel questionable because as a container, we are all moving through these different fears. We're all moving through these different pains and traumas. It's going to be there. And so knowing that there is a safe, there's a safety net. And so we just have a couple of minutes left, but I wanted to hear a little bit more about just your overall experience. If you were talking to someone like yourself that has been just trying to hold up the entire world and the whole universe and deny themselves their own freedom and healing under the guise of being a strong wife for their wounded veteran husband.
Yeah.
But there's healing for all of us here, right? There's healing for all of us. And we are incredibly honored to be able to heal alongside our veterans. But again, what was it, the phrase that you said earlier about when the soldier goes to war, the whole family goes to war? There, you are one. And so talking to other people like yourself, what would you say to encourage them as the veteran spouse to go ahead and take the plunge? And especially people that are like, well, my religion, is a hard one for me. I've heard that could be demonic. And, you come from a Christian background. You were a worship leader.
I was a missionary. I was a missionary.
How did you wrestle with all that? And then how did your perception of what was really going on start to change once you got there?
Yeah. So I go back to the woman who had hemorrhaged for years and had been knocking on doors for healing. You suffer long enough, you walk long enough with God, you know his voice, and you know that he calls you outside of the paved road. And so you either have the courage to go off the beaten path with him or you don't. That's it. That's it. And that was it for me. I had to do that. I had to. I know his voice. I've walked with him for 30 years now.
I got chills.
So I just know he loves being taboo. He loves, you're comfortable here? Let's go here. Do you really want to be well? Then let's go here. I mean, I can't say enough about that. But if I was talking to someone like me, a wife, a mother, a veteran spouse, what would have, when it's right, it's right. It's so cliche, but just be quiet long enough and ask for the courage to listen. And you'll know the next step. And if it feels scary, it's probably the next step.
My God.
Feels scary and not comfortable, go with that. But the big thing for me as that type of person in that role is, sure, you want to show up and support your family and your spouse and your friends and community. You don't need to learn another thing or do another thing. You need to heal. The world needs you. The world needs you as a whole human, not fractured, not giving little flames away, just hoping that it's enough. This is how we show up for the world, is we heal and we be whole. And then it all comes from that. And you have the faith to believe that. You don't have to understand how it's going to happen or what that looks like, but you just muster enough faith to believe that maybe, just maybe that's true. And you just go with it. I'm living proof of that.
Oh my goodness. The woman that was suffering from the issue of blood could have been stoned to death for doing what she did.
Yep.
It was against the law.
Yep.
For her to do what she did, to grab that rabbi's garment and to even come out in public while hemorrhaging as a woman.
Yeah. So taboo.
It's so taboo. But like you said, and even Jesus said, he turned around and said, "Who touched me? I felt the energy leave my body." And he looked at her and he said, "Woman," what did he say?
Yeah, your faith.
Your faith has healed you. And we are, We are a religion neutral organization. So anybody of any
Mhm.
faith can come and feel safe and respected for their beliefs. The one thing that we have to all have in common in ceremony is that we believe that the creator, that the source of all life, that God is loving
Mhm.
and God is for all of us and all
Mhm.
living things. And
Mhm.
God is life.
Yeah.
And if you can believe just enough
Mhm.
in that, then you can come to ceremony and you can have a incredible transformative breakthrough. I mean, more than breakthrough. I
Yeah.
know that lives are fully changed and there's so much more that I want to talk to you about. I'm definitely going to have you on again.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to have your
We'll grab
husband
Micah.
and you guys, even as a couple, because I
Yeah.
told you, a couple days ago, what I see for you guys as a couple. And you know what? Sit at the altar, right? Sit at the feet for a while and just sit in this
Mhm.
receptive, loving place because never again do you have to try to figure out how you and Micah or how you're going to turn all of this into something that helps the world. You don't need to
Yes.
figure it out. Like you just
Yeah.
said, it
Yeah.
will flow out of a place
Yeah.
of authentic joy.
Yeah.
It will flow out of a
Yeah.
place of divine passion and purpose that
Yeah.
doesn't have to be forced.
Yep.
You will get to live and experience your own life and your own relationship to such a new level of release and freedom that in and of itself is going to become the torch that lights the way for other people. And however
Amen.
you two end up cultivating something that you enjoy, that's where, the doing part comes into play now. It's like, how did God create us in such a way that we can tap into our unique
Yeah.
sets, that our personality, the different quirks of our personalities and do something we enjoy and just become a contagious source of
Yeah.
hope and
Yep.
love and encouragement. So
Yep.
I can't wait to see
Yep.
how this unfolds, but really the most important moment is now. The most important moment is now. The destination is the journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You are the reason behind the reason behind the reason.
It's it's I'm so grateful. There's still no words, and I love words. I just don't have them. There's everything's different. I just keep thinking I was one way, now I'm another.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
keep writing because your writing is incredible. And I know that you're going to be singing because I know you said
Yep.
that your voice had been locked up for
Mhm.
years and something
Mhm.
happened at ceremony. And I
Mhm.
know you got
Yep.
your voice back, girl.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to hearing you sing. And I'm
Thanks,
sure
Teresa.
next time, if I get to see you in a ceremony again, you'll sing with me.
Yep.
Um, but
Yeah.
you and your family are just so incredibly beautiful. And thank you for sharing your
Thanks.
journey with us. And thank you
My
for
honor.
thank you for
Yeah.
being a part of our growing tribe.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I love you, girl.
Yeah.
We love
Love
you.
you.
And
Thanks.
thank you so much.
All right.
All right. Bye, Tommy.
Bye.